This week, Valve has released a beta of their upcoming family sharing revamp, and it's better than ever. Plus, we've got a behind-the-scenes look at the Steam Deck OLED trailer's creation. And how is it that the impossible Mr. Core is complete already? All of this and more today. Let's get right into the news. First up, do you remember the Steam Deck OLED trailer? It's this. It had this awesome video wall, or more accurately, a video orb, made out of OLED Steam Decks. And all of the screens were synchronized. It was a pretty neat thing to see. Anyway, Valve released a new video this week, and it's a time-lapse of their assembly of the orb. It looks awesome. I would love to know more details about how they actually executed this. And thankfully, Valve did a technical deep dive. They wrote a blog post all about it. They showed how they used off-the-shelf components like the DeckMate, as well as OBS to stream video playback over the network, and After Effects to do all the animation work across every screen, and in a way that minimized distortion as they UV unwrapped the sphere's CAD file. Anyway, long story short, it's a very interesting read if you're into this kind of stuff, so I highly recommend checking it out with the link below. Next up, remember the Yuzu fiasco from a few weeks back? Of course you do, how could you forget? It was basically where Nintendo attacked an open source Switch emulator in order to intimidate the whole emulation scene. Well, SUYU, a fork of Yuzu with a cheeky name, just had a new release. This is basically Yuzu that you know and love with new branding. Version 0.0.2 is out now, and it's available for Android, Linux, Mac, and Windows. Alphabetical order, gotta love it. Check it out with the links below. Alright, as of recording, there's only about 2 days left on the Cory Doctorow novel collection over on Humble. This is a book bundle by one of my favorite authors, Cory Doctorow. He's a noted futurist and a prolific author who writes incredibly interesting stories that also get all the little details right when it comes to Linux and open source software and all the other things that we as nerds pride ourselves on. Cory is one of us. With this bundle, you get 18 books for $18, and a portion of your purchase goes to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is one of my favorite organizations out there. So check out this bundle, pick it up if you're so inclined. If you use my link, you help support the show. And if you use my link, thank you very much. Now, one thing I've been getting into recently is messing around with the Mr. FPGA hardware emulation stack. I've got my Mr. right here. It's pretty neat, and it's got a mess of wires like it's on life support, but it's pretty cool. I'll be releasing my video about my experiences with this hardware in the coming weeks, so make sure you get subscribed if you aren't already, and if you are subscribed, you gotta like that smash button to tell YouTube you wanna see more videos like this. Mr. is an excellent little Linux-powered device, and it does full hardware emulation of retro consoles. It's absolutely neat, and I've been enjoying my time with it tremendously. Mr. uses cores to emulate specific consoles. Cores are like a set of instructions that tell the FPGA, or Field Programmable Gate Array, exactly how to arrange itself to emulate other hardware. And recently, one prolific core developer named Robert Pipe has been doing what most thought was impossible, implementing the N64 hardware on the Mr. board. With about 90% of the core's work complete, Robert has stated that we've hit the ceiling in terms of what the Mr's hardware can actually do. Most N64 titles work fine here, but games like Jet Force Gemini and Conker's Bad Fur Day will sadly never be compatible with the Mr. core unless some massive software breakthrough is discovered. This is a huge achievement, as many thought that getting any N64 games to run would be impossible. So Robert's work here is an absolute triumph. He's going to be submitting his work here on the N64 core to the official Mr. project, and then he's going to be taking a well-earned vacation, since he isn't just working on the N64 core, but he also made the PS1 core. Now, if you want to pick up a Mr. kit for yourself, there's going to be a link down below. I really like this thing, and if you're a tinkerer, I recommend it to you, because you'll have fun with it. Next up, every month Valve releases the most played games on Steam Deck via their X account. They'll post a tweet, an excretion, and it shows the most played games for any given month. Well, they just went a step further and have given us a list of the top 100 most played games on Steam Deck over the last year. This is pretty awesome, so let's take a look at it. Number 1 is Baldur's Gate, which Emily plays all the time, so I totally get why it's at the top here. Then we've got Vampire Survivors, Dave the Diver, Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Palworld, Cyberpunk 2077, GTA 5, Stardew Valley, Red Dead Redemption 2, Hades, Brotato. The list goes on and on, right? But what I find the most fascinating is that the very last game on this list is Rocket League. This game is not purchasable on Steam because Tim Weenie is a Sweeney. So it is fascinating to me that Rocket League, a game that's not available to buy on Steam, is in the top 100 most played games on Steam Deck. Another thing to note is that Kotaku has reported 27% of the games on this list, so that means 27 games, are not verified, and some of them are even unsupported. It's no secret that there are many games that work on the deck despite having an unsupported rating, but to see so many of them pepper this list here, I find that awesome. All right, the main story this week, Valve made a huge splash with Steam Families. This is a, quote, collection of new and existing family-related features. It replaces both Steam Family Sharing and Steam Family View, giving you a single location to manage which games your family can access and when they can play. Right now, you can create a Steam family in the beta, which may consist of up to 6 members. When an account joins a family, it gains access to family sharing, parental controls, and child purchase requests. First up, let's talk about parental controls. These include new features that allow parents to set limits on what games their kids can play and when they can actually play those games. Parental control lets parents, quote, allow access to appropriate games, restrict access to the Steam store, community, or friend chat, set playtime limits hourly or daily, view playtime reports, approve or deny requests from child accounts for additional playtime or feature access, temporary or permanent, and recover a child's account if they have lost their password. Next up, child purchase requests. This is a new feature aimed at streamlining the process of purchasing games for a child's account. This is probably the biggest reason for Valve to create Steam Families, as they mentioned in the post, buying games for your kids is a, quote, common and sometimes time-consuming task, as it involves gift purchases or letting your kids borrow your credit card, which who would want to do that? Seeing as it's such a source of friction for making purchases, Valve probably wanted a way to enable parents to spend more money more easily. Now, I can imagine that kids will pester their parents with purchase requests, so it will be interesting to see how this feature specifically evolves over time. Next up, we have the big deal, family sharing. Now, family sharing already exists on Steam, but when you join a Steam family, your shareable games will be pooled with the rest of the family members' titles. You'll see in the Steam family category in your library all of the titles that are available in the family. One huge improvement here is playing a game from the family's library doesn't lock out the library from the rest of the family. This is huge, and if multiple family members own a copy of, like, Stardew Valley, for example, then the family owns that many copies of the game, and that many copies are able to be played simultaneously. And non-owners can create their own save games, earn their own Steam achievements, and have access to workshop files and more. The best part is if your child is playing a game from your library, it only locks you out of that specific game now, rather than your entire library. Now, I just want to take a moment and recognize something here. If Epic or Electronic Arts or Microsoft or pretty much any other major company with a storefront announced a major change of this scale, well, you can bet your sweet ass that they would take that opportunity to degrade something about the service. Think about reading the words from the Steam Families post and imagine the dread that would come over you if any other platform had said them. Our new family service replaces family sharing. Yet here, Valve went out of their way to improve this system. Rather than being the modern baseline of sniveling, shareholder bootlicking, and shitifying corporatists like Microsoft and Google. All right, end of rant. I do want to touch on a few other interesting details here. So there are cooldowns when it comes to Steam Families, meaning that if you leave or are kicked out of a family, you have to wait 1 year since you joined it before you're able to join another. Additionally, there is a 1 year cooldown each time a slot in your family is opened. Another interesting thing is if someone else in your family is banned for cheating while playing a game that you own, you both get banned. Valve has also said that they're going to be actively monitoring the usage of Steam families, and they may change the maximum size of families and maybe even the requirements for participating in a family to keep its usage within line of the intent for this program. And I would say that that seems fair, honestly. Currently, this is only in the Steam beta client, but hopefully we'll see Steam families coming to the stable client soon. If you want information about how to opt in and test out this new feature, you can use the link below. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much to everyone who supports the show on Ko-fi, on Patreon, and even as YouTube members. And I'll see you guys in the next one.